I was born into empire, but I did not belong to it. Helena Petrovna Blavatsky entered the world in 1831 Russia, a realm of rigid hierarchy, unbending faith, and imperial surveillance. Aristocracy drilled obedience into its children like law into stone. Yet from the beginning, Helena moved against that current. She saw things, not imagined things, not metaphors. She described watchers in mirrors, visitors in sealed rooms, movements behind solid walls. Her family dismissed these as childhood terrors until she began predicting arrivals, describing conversations before they occurred, and reacting to events no one around her could yet perceive. By adolescence, she openly rejected Christian dogma as incomplete. To her, the church was a fragment, a broken, surviving shard of something older and far more dangerous. She devoured forbidden books, grimoires, travel accounts, and ancient histories, treating knowledge as weaponry rather than entertainment. But Russia was a cage. So at 17, she escaped it through marriage. She married a man twice her age, not out of devotion, but as an exit strategy. Within months she vanished. She left behind husband, homeland, inheritance, and protection, and for nearly 20 years she ceased to exist as society understood her. When she returned, the world would no longer recognize the woman who came back. What followed was a pilgrimage not recorded in ordinary history. Egypt, Greece, France, India, the Middle East, the Caribbean, the Americas, the Himalayas. She moved through necromantic lodges in Cairo, entered secret Greek mystic orders that still whispered of Orpheus and Pythagoras, learned trance work from indigenous shamans whose rituals predated written language, absorbed alchemic instruction from collapsing European societies guarding half-remembered sciences. She funded herself unpredictably, sometimes through inheritance, sometimes through performance, sometimes mysteriously. But the consistent element never changed. She claimed she was being guided, not by spirits, not by angels, by living men who stood outside conventional humanity. In the Himalayas, she said, she finally encountered them physically, the Mahatmas, the hidden architects of human spiritual evolution. From that moment forward, her life ceased to belong solely to herself. The Mahatmas, Blavatsky insisted, were not spirits of the dead. They were advanced intelligences, initiates who had passed beyond ordinary physical limitation without abandoning incarnation. They lived in hidden sanctuaries beyond mapped geography, mastering matter as easily as thought. Their true function was not personal enlightenment, it was planetary guidance. According to Blavatsky, every great spiritual founder, Buddha, Christ, Zoroaster, Hermes, had been guided or overshadowed by this same brotherhood. Civilizations were seeded, religions engineered, rise and collapse carefully calibrated. Humanity, she said, was being cultivated. Their names became ritual keys spoken in hushed rooms: Kuthumi, Moria, Serapis. Then the physical manifestations began. Letters appeared in sealed cabinets, messages descended through ceilings, objects materialized inside locked boxes. Witnesses included skeptics, scientists, journalists, and hostile investigators. Blavatsky did not quietly suggest their existence. She staged impossible demonstrations, and she dared anyone to explain them. In 1875, Blavatsky activated the transmission network, the Theosophical Society, Officially, it existed to promote universal brotherhood, comparative religion, and human potential. Unofficially, it was a deployment mechanism, a psychic relay station, a vehicle for inserting ancient metaphysics directly into the bloodstream of Western civilization. Three goals masked the deeper operation: unify religions, investigate hidden human powers, prepare humanity for a coming transformation. 2 years later, she released Isis Unveiled. The book detonated across continents. Christian doctrine was attacked at its roots. Materialist science was accused of blindness. Eastern philosophy flooded into Western consciousness for the first time at mass scale. The occult underground surged into public life. For the first time in centuries, ancient initiation was no longer confined to secret temples. It was being industrialized. The backlash was immediate and violent. Church authorities denounced her as a satanic agent. Scientists labeled her a pathological fraud. Governments quietly began monitoring her as a destabilizing influence. The Society for Psychical Research opened formal investigations determined to demolish her reputation permanently. Assistants were infiltrated, rooms secretly wired, phenomena subjected to hostile testing. Blavatsky did not retreat. She escalated. Some accusations landed. Yes. She sometimes staged effects. Yes. Elements of theatricality existed. Yes, human trickery was part of the presentation. But the phenomena did not collapse. It became something worse for her enemies, unkillable. Because even when fraud was exposed, the system she created continued producing impossible results without her direct involvement. Myth had achieved self-perpetuation. In 1888, Blavatsky released her greatest weapon, The Secret Doctrine. Not a philosophical treatise, a cosmological war plan. She described cyclical universes, root races, lost supercontinents, Atlantean science, Lemurian giants, stellar intelligences, pre-human civilizations wielding planetary technology. Humanity, she wrote, was not evolving upward from animals, it was degenerating downward from gods. Consciousness had fallen into matter. Spirit imprisoned itself within flesh. Memory of origin was erased deliberately. The work became the hidden skeleton beneath. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, Rudolf Steiner's Anthroposophy, Aleister Crowley's Thelema, modern New Age spirituality, psychic warfare research, occult intelligence agencies. Blavatsky had not merely founded a movement, she had rewritten the origin story of humanity itself. By the end of her life, Blavatsky occupied a category that defied classification. To critics, she was the most elaborate occult fraud in human history. To followers, she was a messenger sent by guardians who stood outside linear time. To hidden organizations, she became something else entirely, a proof of concept, because regardless of who she truly was, she succeeded. Western culture permanently absorbed Eastern metaphysics. Occultism re-entered public life. Initiatory knowledge escaped temple confinement and entered printing presses, lecture halls, and underground lodges. The mystical had entered the industrial age, and it would never leave. In 1891, Helena Blavatsky died, or vanished, depending on which account you trust. There are rumors she predicted her own death as a strategic retreat, that the masters recalled her when her function was complete, that her physical illness was merely collapse of the transmission conduit. But the current she unleashed never ended. Through secret societies, through intelligence programs, through occult psychology, through UFO religions, through modern digital mysticism, her architecture still breathes beneath modern reality. She did not merely reveal the unseen. She engineered humanity's relationship with it, and the gates she opened have never been shut. You've been watching the Esoteric Unveiled, exploring hidden orders, forgotten truths, and forbidden knowledge. Like and subscribe.